I hate to end a week on a down note, but today I witnessed a multi-pointed attack on journalism. And the attacker was one Galen Gruman, presently an executive editor at InfoWorld. Is InfoWorld even still published? And my immediate predecessor, as it happens, back in the day, as president of the Computer Press Association. Galen Gruman, a guy who's written many books about all topics Apple, seems now to have devolved into an example of what those of us with clearer heads often refer to as Apple Fanboys. I don't even need to explain that term, do I? Love Apple to the point that no matter what you do, you squeal in delight. You're one of them. Which is fine if you want to be an Apple fanboy. But despite having made a living for several decades suckling at the teat of the evil empire, Galen Gruman is supposedly still a journalist. So let's examine. Galen published this piece today over a headline suggesting a complementary position on the evolution of Android into a serious, business-ready operating system. The article was nothing of the sort. It devolved in the very first paragraph into a broad attack on the phone operating system that is not Apple fanboy approved. So I left this comment. Galen, I'm sorry, that was a mess. Ignore the fact that, as a couple of the earlier comments here pointed out, you sounded like the Apple fanboy your professional history suggests you would be. Seriously, ignore that. We all have biases. But right from the multiple contradictions and grammatical errors in paragraph number 1, you set a tone for an article that never improved. Android has soared into popularity through its much less capable than iOS? No, it's not less capable. In business, iOS far dominates because of its capability and security? Well, again, no. You're just wrong on the first part, even if the second part carries a glimmer of truth. You can use an iPad or an iPhone safely to do real business work, but not so with an Android tablet or smartphone. And no, again, Galen, you actually hit the salient point in the piece. Android hasn't, up until now, had security enabled by default, but you can certainly build security. And let's not make iOS cloud security jokes, okay? By default, that Apple product is a mess. And then there was the grammatical. Android has soared into popularity, though it's much less capable than iOS, among individual users anyhow. Meaning what? That Android is popular among individual users? Or that it's less capable for them? Which itself would then seem to contradict the main theme of the piece, enterprise security and associated suitability of a platform. You, my old friend, have been doing this writer stuff for way too long to allow a mess like this out into the wild. Nice blogging, though. Well, problem is, I had the nerve to refer back to a piece I wrote here a while back, lamenting the state of journalism. It seems that InfoWorld doesn't believe in attribution. Another journalistic issue, because my comment with the link in it was deleted, not even edited, speaking again of journalism, spiked altogether until I resubmitted it without taking credit. I've lamented the degrading of evolutionary arc of journalism many times here, and you might think this to be one more rant along those lines, and of course at some level that's exactly correct. I hate that the lines separating professional communicators from amateurs have all but disappeared. But I hate even more that the response of the journalism community to that seems more and more to be, well, then we'll just grab it back using the same old tricks we always used. Because despite being safe for work, my comment was spiked because InfoWorld only wants those comments if they can control them. Well, at least I got this far. There's a trend growing among journalists and other would-be content marketers to simply not allow reader comments at all. Now, is that about them not caring what you think? Yeah, sort of. Or has the immense competitiveness for your attention on the internet caused what passes for journalism to slip so far that professional writers are now little more than bloggers, afraid to give up any control under any circumstances? Oddly, the problem goes in both directions. The author of this article at the Daily Beast thinks too few people are taking credit to be journalists. Hey, John Oliver, how dare you deny your journalistic responsibilities? I'm almost glad Amazon demigod Jeff Bezos is in the journalism business now. At least journalists at the Washington Post shouldn't have to worry for too much longer about what their job is. We're all content marketers now. If you think that sounds like a hard thing to pull off, stop by for a chat. I'm the Answer Guy, and I'll be back.